So the next Legend and Flashback collection is almost upon us. It comes out this Friday, and they do have a little hint right here for one of the stats apparently he has in his career. I've seen a ton of names get thrown out about this guy, but if we look at the calendar right here, we can see there is a lot of stuff coming on Friday. Obviously, there's the new Legend of Flashback collection. There's obviously the big roster update coming, so if you haven't checked out my roster update video, make sure you guys go check that out on the channel. And probably a brand new set of cards and everything like that. But let's just take a look at how you actually going to earn this new card. So if we take a look at Miguel Cabrera, you needed 21 vouchers to be able to earn this one, and there was a 95 as well, which was pretty good when it came out. And obviously, Miggy's a very good card, right? So there's a ton of different vouchers that you can go through to get here. And let's break down how you're actually going to probably be able to get this card. I think all the vouchers that you had to get for Miguel Cabrera, you're probably going to need again for this new card, because they've done that in the past with certain like collections, especially like the player ones, for example. So like the spring breakout might be another one that you'll need, you know what I mean? Even though most people already have this one done, it might just add on to the total of the new vouchers, because obviously there's going to be the vintage, the Mural, and Cityscapes are all going to be brand new vouchers, and then probably the new collection that's going to come out on that Friday. So you probably have like 4 new vouchers of those ones, and then the same vouchers that we always traditionally have, you know what I mean? So being the new threads, being the World Baseball Classic, being the new Jolt one, right? And then all these will have more collectible cards that you're going to have to go through. I'm kind of assuming that Mexico Cities might be on there, might not be. Who really knows? The only other collection that isn't on here, they just released their first Finest card. He's obviously in the multiplayer program, so maybe you need that card for this, even though he like just came out. We'll kind of wait and see. And Prime is also not on here, but there's only a handful of Prime cards in the game, and I think you can't buy any of them on the market. So we'll see if those two come out. I figured I'd mention them just because we really don't know. So we're going to start off with Spotlight. Obviously, Spotlight, they have a ton of new May cards. We only had 12 last time. And when that was first released, it was pretty hard to get, not gonna lie. But there's just so many there's so many Spotlight cards, excuse me, in the game now that you're gonna need probably almost all these cards. 67 Spotlight cards that are now in the game, which is pretty crazy. So once again, I imagine you're gonna need like 50 to 60 of these cards, to be all the way honest. I do think it's gonna be pretty hard to be able to get this next card, considering he's better than the Miguel Cabrera, who is already pretty good. So Cornerstone, once again, you're just gonna have to get the new Cornerstone card, which is this Paul O'Neill. So Cornerstone should be pretty easy. Same with Tops Now. Tops Now was 24 cards when it initially came out, which were pretty much all the cards in the game. So I imagine the same thing is going to happen with the Tops Now cards. You're going to need every single one of these Tops Now cards to be able to get this one done. But they have also given you a lot more Tops Now cards as well. So we'll kind of see. I don't know. But I'm assuming you're going to need basically every single card for all these collections. Now, Last Ride, I don't think they've released on their Last Ride card, because there's only these two. So maybe you'll just collect that Chipper Jones right there is kind of what I'm assuming to get the 2 out of 2. We'll kind of wait and see what happens here. Now, Rookie hasn't really got any new cards since the game really came out. So you'll probably just need 7 out of 7 for now, if I'm assuming that's how they're going to do it. We'll kind of wait and see, but yeah, they haven't really released anything for Rookie, to be honest. Now, when it comes to the Negro Leagues, obviously, there's way more cards that came out. Obviously, Drop 3 came out, which that's how a lot of people were able to get this one done, like myself. But there's way more cards in here. I think there's, well, over 33 now in this collection, so I imagine it will be 30 or 32 cards or something like that. We kind of already talked about the Spring Breakout. Once again, you might just need this card. If you already have it done, should be pretty easy. There's a repeatable conquest. If you don't have any of these cards, I would really not recommend buying them on the market, because they still went for a lot of stubs, and they're not really worth it in my opinion. Now, the St. Patrick's Day one is also another one that's interesting. I know Trout was obviously super high in price, and he's obviously tanked with Weekend Classic coming out, but these cards are also pretty expensive, up to 40k on these cards, because they haven't released another pack. So maybe they'll release another pack. I don't really know what they're planning to do with the whole St. Patrick's Day stuff, but definitely another collection to think about. But it might be like the last one. If you already have the voucher, it might just work for the next one, to be honest. Like the Egg Hunt's another one. Like a lot of these are like one-off ones where you really don't know who really knows what they're going to do with this one. They might increase it by 1 card or something like that. So instead of 15 out of the 18, you might need 16 or something like that. That's kind of what I imagine they're going to do for at least Egg Hunt. Now, Milestone are definitely going to increase. It was only 2 cards you needed. Obviously, there's 9 cards in the game, so probably 7 you'll need if I had to guess, but we'll kind of wait and see. But yeah, you'll probably need 7 on Milestone. Now, Awards is another big one. They've obviously released a ton of Awards cards into the game, right? So I imagine you're going to need pretty much all of these cards, especially a lot of the new ones that came out. So you'll probably need a lot of these cards to be able to get this one done. When it comes to Standout, there are only 3 last time. There's only 10 Standout cards, so I'm assuming they'll probably go, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards for this one. I'm not sure how much they're going to do, but because, there was only 3 out of 4, so you might need 9, 8. We'll kind of wait and see, but I think that's what they're going to do. You're basically need all these cards at this point. So for Veteran, once again, they haven't released a new card in quite some time, so I imagine they're just going to up it again by one more card, making it 12. So you're probably going to need all these cards. Unless that new update on Friday is just a ton of different cards in all different series that they added to the game, so they can, you know, just put one on another card. We'll kind of wait and see, but yeah, you're going to need all the veteran cards, it looks like, for this new collection. Same in postseason, they've slowly started to add more postseason cards. Obviously, that Victor Martinez card came out, right? There's been a couple cards that have coming out. You only needed 9 cards for this collection, so I kind of imagine it's going to be 11 or 12, especially because they have some of the newer cards, but we'll wait and see on postseason, but I do think it's going to be like 11, 10, 12 cards. Now, same with second half heroes. They haven't added a ton of second half hero cards into the game, to be honest. There's only really a handful, which is kind of surprising because a lot of these, like, OG, I guess you can call it, series don't have really that many cards. It's a lot of the more newer series we're seeing that have a lot of the cards in them. So there's 21 cards in this collection. You'll probably need 19 if I had to guess. So same with contributor series, you know, there's only 18 cards you need. They'll probably bump it up to 19 with 20 cards being in contributor series. Haven't added a lot of new cards here either. Now All-Star is obviously a pretty big one. They obviously added a lot of cards here, which is where most of the cards that are new that got added you're going to need to get. So you're going to need like every single All-Star card for this. I don't even know how many All-Star cards are even in the game at this point by now, but there was 39. You're probably going to need basically every single one of these cards except for 2. Now, when it comes to Breakout, once again, I don't think they've added a lot of new cards when it comes to the Breakout series, so once again, they'll probably increase this by a couple more cards. Obviously, Jolt is where we get all this information about this, but you do need 40 more cards, so it was only 30 last time, now you need 40. But just slowly keep competing those team affinities and getting those Jolt cards because you'll be able to get this one done pretty easily. Now, when it comes to World Baseball Classic New Threads and Jackie Robinson Day, once again, this is kind of for the milestone for Jackie Robinson Day, but I imagine the player voucher is going to be the card you're going to need, kind of like we had the last time and like we've had in previous iterations of MLB The Show. I imagine you're going to need this little player voucher to be able to get more progress with this new card coming out. And then obviously the big ones is going to be the Cityscapes, the Mural, and the Vintage. Obviously these are all the newer ones that don't really have, you know, a use for their collection card right now with the Mickey Mantle, the Jose Ramirez, and the Ketel Marte. So all these ones obviously you're going to need. These are going to be the brand new vouchers for this collection, which these are going to be some of the harder ones to get done just because a lot of them are in packs. You can usually earn up to the first reward and then everything else is going to come from a pack, so kind of just a heads up there. So these could be challenging for a lot of people to be able to get the new 99 card coming out. But yeah, once again, I feel like for the most of these collections, they haven't added a lot of new cards, especially like the traditional collections like we're seeing. They haven't really added a ton of new cards, to be honest. It's also might be a good time to start investing in these cards. So if you know you're not going to get the collection done, like me, for example, right? I'm not even anywhere close. Like if you don't have Miggy, you're not going to be able to get this collection done. That's just kind of how it works. Because it's going to be harder to get that new card than Miggy was, because, you know, he's good, but he's not going to, I think this new card's obviously going to be a little bit better than that Miggy was, at least in stats. So you can invest in a lot of these cards. You can buy them on the market and then flip them when that update drops to make some stubs. If you still need to do the live series, you still want to do the Miguel Cabrera, you know, you can definitely invest in some of these cards and try to make some stubs off the update. That's a very smart strategy to do, especially on some of these like St. Patrick's Day cards. Like, I don't really know what's going on with this program. Trout's only 16K. You know, we obviously have James McMahon, who's 3K, and then Adam Dunn and Kyle Finland are both up to like 40K somehow, which they were like 5 at some point. So I don't really know what's going on with some of these collections. They obviously have super high cards. Some of them have super low cards. I mean, it could be a good time to invest. Like I said, if the card is hard to earn or you can only buy them on the market, like he was like a headliner, for example, or there's a lot of cards you could get that were still pretty expensive. For example, like the Juan Soto and Lindor cards that were in the 3rd inning program. I mean, these still cards are going for like 90K, which is kind of crazy to think about. But those cards, a lot of people don't have them because it was very hard to get all the way to the end of that track. You know what I mean? There's not many in circulation. So both these cards are going crazy well. So I imagine they're going to go up even more. And then you can even say that for like some lower tier cards as well, just because the new card will be hype. You know, everyone will be excited though. Everyone's going to try to get him. So I imagine a lot of these cards are going to go up in value. So it'll be a great time to invest in some of these cards, especially while they're kind of considered low right now. That's how it was for the Miguel Cabrera program. That's how it's done for previous years of MLB The Show. So definitely something to think about if you want to try to get some of these cards. Like if it's like a multiplayer card like Bryce Harper, probably wouldn't invest in him, to be honest, because pretty sure he was in the multiplayer program, or any card that was like easy to earn that most people have. You don't really want to invest in that card. And like a good way to look at it is if you just look at like the parallels, for example, you can kind of see how many in the community have this, you know, card paralleled 1. It seems almost 300,000 people have been parallel 1, so you can kind of gauge how many people even have the card in general. And then obviously if it's parallel 0, you can see almost 500,000 people have got this card. So just kind of something you could do to see if it's a good investment as well. But yeah, Legend of Flashbacks are coming out this Friday. Definitely let me know in the comment section, who do you guys think this new player is? I saw a ton of different names all across social media. So we'll kind of wait to see who it is. Once again, they're probably going to reveal it tomorrow if I had to guess, or a Friday if they do a stream or something like that. And also, we'll be live on the channel covering the roster update, obviously the collection reward and all the new content, which will be very exciting. But if you guys did enjoy this video and find it helpful, definitely make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You guys can follow me on all the socials. That will be linked down below in the description. Once again, we're hosting another MLB The Show tournament on July 19th. If you want to be a part of that, join the Discord for all the information and to interact with the other community members over there. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.